set.
But what do you think?
What?
Oh, this could be yours. Oh yeah, a beautiful porch overlooking the hood.
Yeah. What can you ask for, man? Hey, what's up?
I never thought that we would be able to even do a feature-length film of Broken Warning. It was always being asked whenever we showed it at the film festivals that, you know, what's the deal with these characters? Who are they? Where do they come from? Where do they live? What are their family lives like? And sure enough, you know, got back to from Los Angeles and talked to Roger and then told him about it, and it's like, hey, well, let's get going on a feature-length version of Broken Warning, and we'll call it On the Download.
On the Download.
Before doing the film, On the Download was slang for, you know, keep it quiet. You know, they're you know, in street terms, you know, just keep it quiet or hush hush about it. So just kind of, it's like this mainstream thing now, On the Download. You know, like, are you on the download? And everyone's like, are you on the download? Or it's just kind of picked up.
To me, I could really relate to it, man, because I mean, you know, I had a whole vibe with the Latin, you know, where you kind of have to keep stuff on the down low. And, you know, it kind of reminded me growing up a little bit, just because I had to kind of keep my stuff on the down low for a while until I decided not to and just come out with it.
I'm like, seen this before, wasn't it? I remember when it was called Romeo and Juliet, that's what I thought of the script. And just you flip things around. And I'm like, yeah, it's like Romeo and Juliet. When I would tell people that I did, I'm like, yeah, it's Romeo and Juliet, except there's two Romeos. Juliet's, she's gone, she's history.
Who do you love? It doesn't matter. It's love. It's, you know, it's a human being caring for another human being.
And there was a lot of chafing.
Yes, there was.
There was chafing.
There was.
I didn't know there was chafing involved.
Yes,
I didn't know that there was chafing involved. If you're not, that hurts.
Now you know how you want
That hurts. I do. Facial hair. I shave for her.
The only thing I can say about DL is a lot of times when people hear it, they're like, isn't that about brothers being on the DL? I'm like, I think it's about everybody, like in general, just guys with females. Because there's different definition. I think the definition is kind of broadening now. I think it's just males on the DL who have like straight lives and have sex with other guys on the DL. And it's not just about brothers, it's about just like guys, people with straight lives, straight lifestyles.
That's Toddy's thing, and I appreciate that because everything he does has to have some kind of twist. That little Toddy twist, and he just puts something in there.
It's a subject that is not talked about.
Majority of people said that it was very intense. And what I love about this film is the demographic. You know, the wide range of people that it's reaching because of the type of film that it is. Like you said, yes, it's mainstream audiences, gay and lesbian audiences, you know, mainstream, whatever that means. But, you know, that kind of thing, there's a much broader spectrum of people that I think it's reaching.
One thing that I let people know all the time is that we never set out to make a gay film. We set out to make a film about relationships. And it just happened that these two leads are romantically involved, and that's it.
So we held auditions in November of 2001, right?
Yeah.
And the first person to audition, I think, was Carmen, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was the first one who was cast. She came in on the very first auditions that we held in November of 2001. And
Eddie was there, right?
Yeah, Eddie was there. We were both there doing the auditions. You came in later on.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm ready to get out of here.
Why?
This is bullcrap.
What's bullshit?
No pay.
Yeah.
So then, we talked about it a little bit, and then I heard her monologue, and I was like really taken aback by it because she really cried right on cue, and I'm like, oh man, this is good, and like Eddie looked at me, he like gave me the thumbs up. So sure enough, we went in and we did it. We casted her. But then after we had like about 2 more auditions between there and then the final one.
Right.
And I think the only person who was cast was Andy Tadaro.
Right.
He was
And Roberto Soto.
Robert was also
Robert
cast.
Soto, yeah.
I'm sorry, Robert was also cast at the beginning.
As the store bigot.
Yeah, and then after that, Drow. And then finally, it was a godsend. We finally had the last auditions. Like, we're moving in close. Pre-production is already set. The equipment is already reserved. The camera's been reserved. The film has been ordered. I mean, I have the film sitting at home.
And we still didn't have our Isaac and Angel.
But then I went to a talent agency and they gave me a bunch of headshots. And then I just called these people. And then the first one that came in was Nick.
Yeah.
And I had him on the side because he had the shaved head and everything going on, so everything worked good for him.
He looked like a gang member.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was a really nice kid, but I knew that he could really pull it off as a gang member. Then came Jimmy, okay, cast him right away. A few more guys came along. Then came Juan Castaneda, casted him. And then finally Donato came in. And this was like the first time that I had ever met him. And, he did his monologue. And I was like, okay, cool. All right, I'll keep in contact with you. I'll give you a call. And I'm like, okay, I need to use him as something, so I'll use him as Angel. Originally, for Broken Warning, I was thinking about casting Donato.
Right. That's
Yeah.
Right.
And then, like, after the movie was done, after the short film was done, he called me a week later, and I was like, oh no, the movie's already been shot. Oh, okay.
I had actually got a call from the incomparable Tadeo Garcia. It was about 2 years earlier. He did Broken Warning, and he wanted me to do that movie, but that fell through because I think I went on vacation or something. So I got sent on the audition. I'm like, ooh, I recognize this guy. I recognize this guy's name. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what he's doing. And it turns out that the movie that he was going to cast me in, he ended up extending it into a feature length. So I'm like, cool. I auditioned and I got a call back, and then I think I got another call back, and then I think I read it with Tony, and then he sent me an email. That's how formal his ass is. He sent me an email saying I got the part. So as opposed to a phone call. So that's basically how I got the part.
And then came Michael Cortez, and he was good. I really liked him, so I was like, okay, he might be Isaac. I think I'll have him for Isaac. Then came Tony Sancho. I was like, nah, he's Isaac.
And I actually got a phone call from Toddy Garcia, who was director, and I went there for a couple auditions, and he was real quiet about not telling us if we got the part or not. So it was like 4 or 5 auditions before he actually told me that I had the part. But it was about a month process. Early that summer, I got a phone call from Toddy, just asking if I would be interested in coming in and auditioning, and I said yes. And we met in one of the studios at the school, and auditioned for him, and we had a good long conversation right after the audition about film, and then got called in a second time, which was about, like you said, about a month later. Yeah. It did take a while to come in and read with Michael, and about twice, didn't we? Twice. Yeah. That was the first time Michael and I met.
I remember being at Pepe's. We had a production meeting, and you brought all the headshots, and you basically put them. And I think you had some other people too.
Yeah.
That were going to be Isaac.
Yeah, all the headshots.
And you're like, who goes together with who? And sure enough, I picked Michael and Tony and put them together. Go, oh, that's Isaac and Angel right there.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, we saw eye to eye on who these characters are.
No, it was cool. And then then came the moment to send him the script.
Oh yeah.
And I sent. I think Donato was one of the first ones that I sent the script to, and he looked at it and then he emailed me back. He's like, the story's good, but I don't think I want the part of Angel because I'm not gonna kiss a guy on screen.
I actually was supposed to be Angel. Was I supposed to be Angel or was I supposed to be Isaac? I was supposed to be Angel. And then I read it and I'm like, okay, passionate kiss? Let me think about ass grab? So I'm like, nah. I'll pass. He's like, fuck it, I'll make you Reaper. I was like, okay. I was like, fine. Where do I sign?
I'm like, okay, cool. You're gonna be Reaper. And he was like, okay, cool.
Give him the part that's farthest from the spectrum.
Yeah. And contacted Michael, contacted Tony, and they had loved the script.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we got the ball rolling with everything else and on.
I didn't know Toddy or Roger, and I didn't know how much. Actually, I think this was Toddy's first major film, and so you don't know what to expect. And what I liked about both of them since day one was the fact that they were very professional, and Toddy was willing to let you kind of just go off, and expand. You didn't have to be so on book, like every other word. Like he gave us a lot of leeway, to just explore. And then I think by the last shoot, he just kind of, they both told us, Roger and Toddy just said, hey, you know what, just be Angel and Isaac, and then
they make an awesome duo, them two. Yup, a little Long Island, 2 Long Islands on a Thursday night, a little brainstorming, and boom, you got yourself a dynamite script.
So I think the comfort that he gave us, it only allows actors to be that much stronger, because once we already knew who we were. Once you know who you are, you're halfway, you're there. So he was able to be organic with it and just kind of let things go with the flow, and that was cool. That was a good part of being in this film. So
Originally, the Download started as a class project. In order for me to make the movie so inexpensive, was that I had to sign up as an independent project at school for directing. And so it was under the aid of my professor, Crystal Griffith. I'm really, really thankful for her, because she's the one who gave us the green light. She was behind me all the way on the project, and then and stopping me at times, like, okay, I don't know if you want to do this in your script. I think it would be a good idea. She would suggest, but it wasn't like other professors I've had at times where they're like, no, they're literally shoving it down your throat that you have to do it this way. No, she was really open to my ideas, and I really, really appreciate it. So, I'm just really thankful that she really saw the possibilities in the project, and even now, she's like, the timing could have been perfect for the release of your movie into the film festivals, and how much she wishes a lot of luck for me.
Sound speeds. Camera rolling. Marker. Set.
Action!
So Cycletech. So we shot at Cycletech, which is a place on Harlem Avenue near Summit.
No, it's Harlem and Archer.
Harlem and Archer area.
Harlem and Archer.
And we secured that location through, again, Perry Flores. It wasn't a set, and it was like, wow, this is like real. It's like these actors are there, they're doing the lines, and they're real characters, and they're in a real location, actually working on motorcycles. It was like, okay, this is a good start. But I remember the camera jammed. Didn't it jam?
Yeah.
Was it the first shot? or
No, because the camera loader, I don't know what she did, but it just like, it got caught in the thing, and we had to like stop. We're like, okay, cut. You could just like hear it. You could hear it in the motor. It's like,
yeah.
You're like, oh man, what the hell is this stuff?
Yeah.
But other than that, we actually finished ahead of time, so that was kind of cool, dude.
Yep. It was kind of a good, maybe a good luck thing. We got the camera jam, the problem out of the way. It's the first day, and then we were way over schedule, or not over schedule. We finished ahead of time, which was good, and then we went and got something to eat, I think, and talked a little bit about it, and prepared for the next day.
Yeah, the next day, which was like the first time that they actually, Tony and Michael had their first scenes together.
Set.
Action! We went and went to my apartment and shot it. But the thing was, unfortunately we're shooting sync sound, so we had to shut down all the air conditioners and make sure like there's no other like ambient noise coming in, because that just messes up. It just throws off your sound completely.
And on a hot July in a small apartment.
Mind you, we have like this.
I'm sure it would have been.
This like 2,000 watt light beaming into the window.
Propped outside.
Yeah, right out the window. So you kind of see like where the actors are. Then we got like the smaller lights inside the room. Then we got like about 5 different people, which is myself, the boom operator, the assistant camera, the director of photography, and the 2 actors, okay, 6.
Yeah.
We got the 6 people in there. And plus we're blowing smoke in there like with cigarettes because we wanted to get like that really cool foggy effect that you see in the movie. And man, forget it. It was like stifling. But the guys did such a good job.
Yeah.
And so I never had any complaints on that in that department at all whatsoever.
Yeah, you could tell in the scene it's great.
Mm-hmm.
It really worked out well.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it went really well. The conditions were really hot, but it was, other than that, I think everything went really good.
Well, the film does take place in July, so
Yeah.
the sweating helped.
More than likely, these guys don't have AC.
Roll sound.
Sound speeds.
14 Bravo, take 2. Roll camera. Speed. Set.
Action.
Isaac, 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 por favor, déjame salvarte, hijo. Isaac, quiero ayudarte.
On the down low, writing on the down low was an interesting experience for me because I really haven't written any dramatic piece before. It was I was always writing comedies or like horror tales or fantasy type things, and meeting up with Taddeo, which actually our first movie was Grease Paint, which was kind of a little horror film. Taddeo brought up this great idea, about the gang members and being gay, and with our little conversation with Perry, our like brainstorming, Taddeo would bring us our drinks, our Long Islands, and he'd run off, and Perry Flores and I would go back and forth, and then he'd come back, and we go, Taddeo, it's great, they're gay, but they're from opposing gangs, and that leads a whole nother aspect. That leads another tension to the story now. Now it isn't that they're gay gangbangers, it's that they're hiding another secret, and one that could really kill them, if it's found out. And that just brought open the whole Broken Warning story. And like Taddeo said, when it came time to do the feature-length film, it was an experience because it's like, wow, now I got to write actual dialogue because this is going to be sync film and sync sound. It isn't a little student project. It's going to be a big thing, and I wanted to make it as best I could.
He faxed the script to me even before I went in audition, and I think I was in 2 pages into it because it was a really short script, and I was reading it and I said, okay, this is reading this role, and then I get to page 3 or 4, and I was like, oh, okay, it's deep. So I knew I had what I was getting into. Toddy and Roger, they've been pretty good about ever since the beginning that knowing what you're getting into and the choices that needed to be made. So.
I didn't know specifically until after our audition. He gave me a call and said, would you be interested in doing this? And I said, yeah, but I wanted to make sure that I was conscious of what I was getting myself into. And so I asked him, could I read the script before I made a final decision? And he emailed it to me, and I printed it out and I read it, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was groundbreaking. The subject matter was something that I don't think has been done before, and I knew that it was going to be a challenging role, which is something that you look into, and I felt a closeness to the characters. I felt like it was something that I understood very well, and wanted to play.
But the subject matter, I was not aware of it until one day at home. One of my brothers says, "Hey, you gotta come over and see this clip." He was on the internet, and I came upstairs and he showed me, and I said, "Oh," I said, "Guess what?" I said, "I just auditioned for that director, and that is the film that he's,
The original. Yeah.
I said he's doing something else, and it was very intriguing because it's a subject that is not talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We just know that they're gangbangers, but we don't know anything about their orientations or their ideals or their, the only thing we figure as a gangbanger, they're out there to, kill each other. You
Right.
know?
Right.
And so it's an interesting topic because it deals with a different aspect besides violence, and it talks more about their feelings and how they feel about one another, whether they're friends or in this case they're romantically involved, and that's part of life. That's life.
I think I said I really feel like this is like an urban, Chicago Pilsen Romeo and Juliet, except we've got two Romeos. That I felt like that was the case, and what it was about was it was really about love, in my eyes. That was always the underlining meaning of it. Whether and it was just it's their lifestyle, in which in order to maintain this lifestyle, this is something that they have to do in order to not weaken who they are.
The first scene I wrote was the priest scene, the scene with Isaac talking to the priest.
Yeah,
and that just, I don't know where it came out of me. It was just, I was just doing it. I just started talking, and I was like, okay, here's a guy that's in conflict, he's got to kill his lover, and, he's got to keep the secret, and he doesn't want to tell the priest what he's doing, what's going on, but he's looking for answers. And
you're more used to like writing comedy and horror movies.
Yeah, and so I wrote this really dramatic scene with the priest, and it's a very touching scene, and I, brought up as a Catholic, haven't been in church in a long time. So it's like I just kind of went way back in my mind and brought up the old confession stuff, and that line where Isaac goes, I can't remember the words. It was true, because I couldn't remember what you say when you go for confession. So it worked perfect. It was like, okay, now I'm Isaac,
Father, bless me for my sins. I'm sorry, Father, I can't remember the words.
So that was the first scene, and it went on, and it just started falling together. It came to place, and it was, there were some scenes where I was able to bring in the little humor, aspect to it, and before I knew it, it was there, and it was just a great process to do it. And in fact, I wrote the entire thing where I was working. I just brought my laptop and started writing the thing out, and I would call Taddeo and say I got the scene, read it over the phone. He'd say, oh, that's cool, do a little change here.
Yeah.
And I'd change it, and we'd get back, we'd email back and forth, we'd get together and rewrite and reread, and it just all came together great,
as long as it's done in good taste, and not only that, but it's based on realism, and there are people out there who have these issues that need to be addressed, and if this short story could bring some clarity to someone, then I'm all for it.
It was cool, the response from the script from Tony and Michael was outstanding, and it was funny. I have a memory of meeting them for the first time, and we'd get to the location, and the first location was Cycletech, and I was helping Taddeo unload the car, and we were getting everything set up in Cycletech, and here's this character, and I'm like, oh, I guess you're Angel. I didn't even know Michael at the time, and it's like, oh, cool, nice to meet you. I knew his face from the headshot, but I really didn't, when I saw him in right there in front of me, I didn't realize that was him. And it was the same with Tony. The next time we shot, I didn't know who he was, and it was odd because there's a nice friendship closeness that we have now with them because we've been through this whole road, this whole journey, and back then it was like I didn't even know them, and you can kind of tell when I was doing the little video interviews with them on the set that my questions were just kind of like but
sporadic here and there.
Sporadic, yeah. Michael Cortez, what part do you have in this play?
I'm playing the role of Angel.
Angel?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about it?
I feel good. I'm really excited to be a part of this. Hope this film does pretty well. I have faith it's going to do pretty well.
All right.
you know, I love professionalism, and no one's wasting anyone's time here. You know, it's a good shoot, and everyone's really nice. So enjoy the other actors. So everything's gonna work out all right.
Cool. Got any worries or anything about the film?
No.
No tension growing on a certain scene?
Is it in my face? Did you read that in my face? I'm gonna worry about that when that happens. Tony Sancho, the other actor who's playing Isak, we're gonna get acquainted. We just need to become more friendly, and a true friendship we need to build, so that when it happens, it's not awkward, because you just can't register like that.
You guys are going to have to go out for a couple drinks or something, a couple beers before the next shoot, before you guys...
Anything else that happens after that?
Oh.
No, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
All right, cool, man.
All right.
Talk to you later.
At least you don't live at home with your God Almighty Catholic mother telling you about all the sins in the world, especially people like us. ¿Ven? ¿Ah? Pues mira, aquí está. Es una pinche pistola. Ahora cuida a tu otro hijo para que no seas como yo.
¡Mi hijo!
Okay, don't worry. That'll be off camera. What's the problem? All right. Oh no.
Makes me cry.
You know? I get chills.
Extend it all. Action.
Contesta el teléfono. Adán.
What?
Mijo, contesta el teléfono.
Yeah, Mom. I'll get it.
Hey, can't you get the phone?
No.
I mean, I guess I could say I've had something similar with my father. Not so much my mother. So I guess I can relate it to that. But the majority of it, I think, came from the building it off of the character, understanding where he was coming from, and trying to establish that. I mean, the relationship with the mother is very important, I think, because it just shows so many different levels of why he goes in the direction that he goes. And we find that, you know, within his family there are, you know, he has a sister who's successful, and things like that, but he's chosen a different route, feeling the pressures that he's under. But at the same time, you can see that he's very religious when it comes to the things that his mom has taught him and his beliefs. So he you know, you get to see a lot about how he's torn within that scene, I think.
It's very intense. I mean, it takes a lot of energy when, you know, in the rehearsals, after a couple of hours of rehearsal, I was tired, you know, because it takes so much, all that emotion, all that anger, and, you know, so it's very physical, not physical in terms of you jumping, but I mean, to let all of that, those emotions out, it takes a lot of the actor. You know.
All right, I don't speak Spanish and I don't write Spanish, and Taddeo had this great idea for the movie, which when I wrote the thing, I wrote it all in English, and I just pictured Latino actors just performing it that way. But Taddeo said, no, the scene's got to be done in Spanish. It's got to be, because that's how they talk at home. You know, when Isaac's away, he's talking English to his buddies and everything. But so Taddeo basically rewrote the script in Spanish. You know, basically my words and everything. And I think you added a few more things in there. But no, you went and I guess you rehearsed Carmen and Tony together and really made that scene work. And I remember that was a hot day too. I mean,
it wasn't that bad.
No.
That one wasn't as bad as the day before, man.
No.
The day before was just hideous, man.
No, but I mean, that was a long day. That was a long day because I remember.
No, dude, it wasn't that bad compared to like the other days at all.
Not hot, but I mean long, because you even had catering. That was the first day you had movie box lunches, and I remember, I think I got it on the back footage. It's a little box lunch with a bag of chips, a little sandwich, little coleslaw, and a fruit. You know, it was like, I go, this is what extras get on movie sets. What is this? You know, and the rest of the shoot you fed us well, but I mean that was like, I was like, why did you pay all this? This is expensive. You could just went and got some pizzas, you know.
Yeah.
But Taddeo took care of us on the sets.
Yeah, it's cool because I never done an independent before, and when he said that, you know, it all comes out of his pocket, I thought it'd be like, okay, one boom mic guy, you know, camera guy, one of those cameras, like a little handheld camera, and we just be in the park or something. But it's actually pretty cool because there's so much people, there's a lot of people involved, and it almost has that sort of big budget feel.
Mhm.
And like the craft service table, I was like, that's better than what I see on on music videos and stuff like that. So it feels similar and it feels familiar, and it's a lot bigger than I thought. A lot more effort and time goes into it, a lot more than I originally thought.
No, that day went pretty well. We shot, I think, the outdoor stuff first.
Yeah.
Where Isaac runs.
Yeah, because of the light.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to lose that much light.
And then the 8 or 9 takes of my car squealing away and me worried about my tires.
Action!
¡Isaac! ¡Isaac! ¡Le voy a llamar a la policía! ¿Me oyes? ¡Le voy a llamar a la policía! ¡Isaac! ¡Déjame salvarte, Isaac! ¡Isaac, por favor,
Cut!
I'm heading to the film shoot. I don't know if you can make out, but there's some lightning going on in the sky. This is one of the days that I had to work. This is the first day I had to work where I couldn't be at the film. And they're doing it now. They're actually filming. They started at 8. It's going on 9:45 right now. And I'm speeding down the road. I'm in Arlington Heights. I got to get to Archer and Cicero, hopefully as soon as I can, so we can finish this film. And also hopefully the storm that I'm seeing lightning up above isn't going to come down on our asses. Hopefully I won't get a ticket, and we should be seeing you again when we get to the movie site, okay? Oh, lightning. All right, here we go. Bye. I remember trying to get people to be gangbangers and come to be extras at that thing, because I didn't think we were going to have. I mean, I originally remember we envisioned it to be this big party where they go to an old apartment and you're going up the stairs, bonfire, and
Man.
you even had that church
Yeah,
location.
we were going to use that church location, but we couldn't do it at all because they didn't give us permission to.
It was just the front of it. The back was
It's just the facade. Everything else is gone, and I mean that would have just worked so much better with fire and fireworks going off here and there. It would have been really elaborate. But we were like, oh well, we got to make with what we have. We couldn't get the permission, so we just used my sister's house.
Yeah, the backyard, which is cool. It looks like a small gang party.
Yeah, so it worked. It really worked.
You had the barbecue going, or did you have smoke bombs to do the barbecue?
No,
how did you do the smoke?
The way we did the barbecues, we just like, it was close to the 4th of July.
Yeah.
So I went out to Walgreens and bought like some smoke bombs and just
put them in the bar.
Yeah.
Lift the lid and the smoke. And you can see it in the background.
We kind of also have some fog in that scene, and it's just like me like.
Yeah.
Getting the smoke bomb and like squirting at everybody, making sure like there's like some smoke.
Yeah.
And it was good,
Give it a nice haze in the air.
Yeah, it was good, man. It really worked out like awesome.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Looks cool.
The church was really, really cool because I got permission to actually shoot in a real Catholic church by the pastor of the parish, and everything was shot in a real confessional box.
You originally envisioned an older church.
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be an older church, St. Mary of the Angels, up north in Chicago, because it's like a real old traditional Catholic church. And I was like, man, this will work even better, because I mean, in Pilsen Little Village, there really aren't any modern churches at all whatsoever. It's all old ones, you know, and I think that would have worked way better, but. You know, we had to make with what we had, and they didn't give us the permission, so we just used this one, which still worked pretty good. You know, I mean, I never had any complaint about it all whatsoever.
Phil Camacho was a great actor, playing the priest. He said something to me that put a smile on my face, and I'm sure it made Taddeo proud. When he was leaving, I was just saying goodbye to him, and Taddeo that day after the shoot, I mean, everything went really well. They went out and they did their little rehearsal, and then they came back, and shooting in the confessional booth went great. I think you did 2 or 3 takes, and that's a long scene. That was a really long scene for them to do, and it was warm and it was cramped.
Let's see the confession we really want here.
Father, I'm gay.
Is that the problem? Is that the problem?
Just fire light rays. And I have to kill.
Well, that's the problem. Alrighty now.
I remember when Phil was leaving, I was shaking his hand, thanking him and everything. He goes, you know, I really had a good time here. I go. He says, I've been on a lot of movie shoots and they give you nothing. They give you little cookies or something. I go, Taddeo is so professional. You know, he had me in at a certain time. He had this set where we were going to rehearse for a half hour. We went in, we shot, we got out, and he's like, I'm going home. And it's like, this is great. He goes, I never expected to be out at this time. And he says, you know, I really appreciate Taddeo for really having me in this film and that. And it was cool. I was like, great, Taddeo's doing a good job.
It's all
you know?
part of like pre-visualizing the thing. Too,
Yeah,
you know, just making sure that your shots, you know what shots you're going to want and what shots you're going to get as soon as you get in, and that way you can be out faster, you know. I mean, and the thing is, it was a real simple lighting setup because that was shot on film also. So, I mean, that was a beauty thing. I mean, other times, like the party scene, you know, that took a little while to set up because of the lighting.
Right.
I mean, if it's not for the lighting, I mean, everything would be shot super fast and we'd have no problem at all whatsoever. But, you know, we got to deal with what we're given, so.
Your boy Angel, is he getting settled in our little family?
Oh yeah, man, he's a true 2-6.
Is that right?
Hell yeah, man.
You know what, bro? I know a lot of people, and I hear a lot of things.
That's why you're Reaper, bro.
That's right, but recently I heard something that fucked me up.
Honestly, me and Reaper, we're different. It's total opposite. So that's why it was cool, because I think as an actor, you wanna stretch yourself as much as possible and play polar opposites, and that was cool because I got to be an asshole for 5 days. I'm kind of an asshole in real life, right, too? But I got to be an asshole who kills people. So.
The scene with Reaper in the park is really cool. I mean, that was one of the times we had a very small crew again. I mean, like our crew would like fluctuate. It would go up and down and up and down, and we'd be missing some people here. Sometimes they would show up, or they would show up late. But that was a pretty cool scene. You know, it worked pretty fast actually. You know, I was assuming that we were going to be there one whole morning into afternoon, but we started shooting it around 10 o'clock in the morning. We were out of there by like 3 in the afternoon, so it was really good, you know, and everybody was just like right on cue, and it just worked really, really good.
That girl's gotta have her little secrets.
Nice angle up there.
We were starting to lead up to the scene where Tony and Michael kiss, and I think that kind of fueled a lot of the tension on the set in the morning, because we shot like 2 scenes. We shot the burger joint scene during the day, and then that night we were supposed to shoot the kissing scene.
There were 2 days out of the entire shoot that I'm sure the temperatures were in the upper 90s.
Yeah.
And it started out all right in the morning during the burger shoot because it was cool. But once, you know, we started doing the scene,
the afternoon hits around, forget it.
11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, it was hot.
Yeah.
And temperatures started flaring, and people started throwing the clapperboard down. And
yeah, but that night of the kissing scene, it was amazing. You know, we really didn't have that much of a crew, but that night everybody showed up.
He never had a full crew. Any of all the days we were shooting, he always was missing a camera guy, a first, you know. first something.
I think we started off with how many people? We started off with like a crew of like maybe 15, and then by the end, like literally, like when I shot that scene in the car with Jimmy, it was literally like 3 people. And then when I shot that end scene, when I pissed on that one dude, there was literally the director Tadeo and then Roger. So.
And then, but I tell you, that shoot that night, man, there was
Everyone was
everybody showed up,
and they were there for that moment.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you know we did a good job. You know, I think it was fun. It was fun. You know, overall. You know, and then when you get to see the responses, you know you did your job.
And you rehearsed that scene, right?
Yeah, we actually rehearsed it like a few times inside, and then we did a bitch load of takes.
What was it? 13 takes?
Yeah, 13, 14.
Something
Not
like
counting
that.
the rehearsals we did before.
Right, not counting the rehearsals. I think it was. I think I'm almost, if I'm not mistaken, it was 17 times overall. You know, in order to really get it.
Okay, and action.
Forgot something.
And cut. How does that feel?
I don't know about you, but I'm busy.
Alrighty, good. That's that.
So any thoughts before the big scene?
No, not really. Just ready to go and do it. And
How do you think
good.
how do you think the film's been going so far?
Good, really
Yep.
good. Yeah. I'm interested in seeing how, what the finished product's going to look like. But as a participant, and also, Thadi said this right off the bat when he first considered me for the part as a collaborator to this whole piece. I feel good about it. I feel like it's going to be a good project. I'm interested in seeing what the finished product's going to look like. I think I'll be very proud.
It was a very hard scene, especially for 2 heterosexual actors to pull it off.
Yeah.
But, it worked out, I had to pull these guys aside and be like, okay, this is the moment, this is the scene where either the audience will sit down, stay sitting in the theater, or they're going to walk away.
Right.
And luckily, they stayed. And that's just what really helped it out even more, And then from then on, this is a scene where people are already torn. They're gangs. They're in opposite gangs. No, but they're lovers. Oh, but they're in opposite gangs. And the mom's here, and this other mom's here, and the sister can't help, and the priest can't help, and Reaper's after them, And it's just like, my God, what else is gonna happen, So that really, really helped it out, and that's just that moment.
Well, first, I think they both, Roger and Taddy, they made it feel comfortable. It was always safe. It wasn't anything that I knew that this film was going to be in good hands. I knew it wasn't going to be smut. It was it was a good story, and that kind of gave me some comfort. And any kind of kiss. I've done tons of stage kisses. With girls, and I still get nerve wracked. And with I didn't know what to expect. It was a bunch of emotions and it was just so much tension leading up to that night we actually shot it. And but I told myself before going into it, saying you either do it to the full extent and go for it, or you don't do it at all, because what I didn't want to happen was we just go through the motions, and then people say, all right, well, they're just, I don't believe it, so if we make people, vomit in their popcorn or whatever, or people are like really thrown away, and I know it's a very impactful, powerful scene, because every single state that, or the city that we've shown it in, that film festivals, you can hear a pin drop when that scene goes on. And I thought in the beginning, I said, everyone's gonna be cracking up or they're gonna be grossed out. You can hear a pin drop, so it's an intense scene. But I'm glad that, if we're making people feel uncomfortable or whatever, or they feel, the passion with it or compassion, then we've done our job. So
when I read the script, I thought it was great. There was no hesitation within me whatsoever. I read it, and And as the story progressed, the first script that I had read, you know, I understood that it was, you know, it was a matter of love. It wasn't something that I thought was inappropriate or gross or anything like that. I thought it was an appropriate moment in the story. That was something that had to be seen and had to be taken to the fullest extent. I mean, you have to do it completely. So for me, I mean, it was really gratifying to have those moments when you're sitting in the theater and you can hear a pin drop. You can just sit there and know that either people are extremely uncomfortable or they do feel compassion for these characters and understand.
You thought it was gratifying?
I do. Yes, and yes, because when it comes to you know, knowing that we did our job in telling the story, that's as much gratification as you can get, because they're watching this and they're believing it, and that's what you want as a storyteller. You know, that's what you hope for, is that they're going to be engrossed in this moment, whether it is gross for them or not. They're going to be in it.
How is it? How you doing?
Doing good.
Tomorrow.
Whoever says this isn't work, whoever put this on tape.
Go ahead.
Whoever says this isn't work has no idea.
The money isn't enough, right?
Set. Action! Come on, man!
What the hell?
You looking for the kid upstairs?
Yeah?
Well, he's not here. He left.
What?
When we were shooting the scene with little Jimmy and his mom, problem came up with that not a lot of the crew had shown up. So it was just myself, my assistant director, the sound guy, and the camera guy. It is possible to do a lot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's at school they teach you to like really, you know, depend on a really big crew. And I don't know, we've kind of learned, you know, along the way, especially when it was just a two-man crew, just you and me, that, you know, it's possible. You can just like really do so much and not really worry about it at all whatsoever.
We proved that in the scene where Reapers and the thunderstorm, and it was
4, including me.
Not counting the actors, though, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
just including me and you, 4.
And a hose full of water, you know. And you know, we shot that thing in probably less than 2 hours, didn't we? And it was just great. But some days, yeah, you need the big crew. And we started out this production with a big crew, not a big, but.
Yeah, but then there's another movie that came on the scene that was being filmed, and then we kind of lost our crew there. Because I guess they thought it was going to be more publicity and stuff, but it ended up being the opposite. We ended up getting more publicity than they did, and more festival runs.
Into the house. Just keep walking in there. Walk, walk, walk. You can talk whatever. There's no sound in this scene. Okay, cut the sound. Right here. Get ready for rehearsal in 1 minute.
Christopher Busick, I had met him when he shot my first project called Grease Paint, and it was really good. You know, I was really impressed with the cinematography that he had. So I want you to like do the cinematography for On the Download for me, and he came out. You know, I mean, he's got some pretty intricate shots here and there, but I mean, other than that, I mean, it worked pretty good. You know, I mean, I had like about 4 different camera guys, including ourselves.
Since the movie went on to the movie's almost like in 2 parts, the shooting of it.
Yeah. It was like first unit and then the second unit.
And then the second unit.
Yeah, which is kind of like the way we divided it. I mean, usually a second unit goes and does different stuff.
Right.
But that's kind of like how we did it and how we wrote it.
We were kind of the second unit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, Chris was good. Chris has a good eye at a lot of things, and he did a pretty decent job, you know, when he was there.
Building the set at Columbia was pretty interesting. Thursday I went and painted the flats. Friday I went and built the set, clamped it all together.
All by your lonesome?
Oh yeah, by myself. Nobody came. It was just all me. It was just cool, you know. I liked it because I kind of like knew what I wanted and where it was gonna go, and I finished up a lot faster than instead of waiting for somebody else. And then Saturday early morning I came in, dressed it up, and then I left and went out to church to go see my sister get married up. But then Monday, that's the day that we came in and shot it. But I mean, we were up to a T at 5 o'clock because we had to be out of the soundstage by 5.
Yeah.
Because they were closing up the building. So, you know, we pretty much got everything we did. You know, we were rushing, but we got it.
Yeah, you guys were like setting up the lights and getting.
Well, we
the
only
shots.
had one light.
Well, the one light, but you were getting things still set up over there, and there was a second little set you made.
Oh, that's right. We had to build. Yeah, that's right.
Didn't you do that?
I had done that on Friday. Actually, Thursday, I put that up because that didn't matter what color it was.
Right.
Yeah,
it's Isaac's bedroom.
It was a window flat. Yeah, that thing. You know, when he goes and gets the gun, you'd be surprised. That's not a real bedroom. That's just like 2 little pieces of a wall. And that's it with a table and a cot.
Yeah.
And that's it. Nothing more. And I mean, it looks like a real bedroom, you know, but I mean, when people see it, they're like, oh my God. I mean, I think you'll see it in some of this footage as to where we're at.
But you were shooting that, and then I was putting makeup on Michael's character for Angel to be beat up. And Tony, I believe, was choreographer.
Yeah, he was choreographing
of the fight, doing the choreography of the fight.
Yeah.
And he worked out some pretty good moves that work, you know, I mean.
How's that look?
Looks good. Do it at full speed.
Very good.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay.
Do it, man.
Just fucking do it, man. What the fuck's going on, man?
Shut the fuck up! Sick.
Isaac, man, what the fuck?
Fucking prick. Come on, man. Fucking do it.
Cut.
Forgot about the click. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry about it. Yeah.
That was a hot place, motherfucker. Let me give you something to cool you off.
Oh shit. Hell no.
The last scene, the part I guess where I'm lying down already dead and Reaper urinates on me. I guess that was it was a last minute call from Toddy, and to me that just made it seem a little bit more animal like.
Yeah. And I think that as far as the story is concerned, I think it really gives you a reason to hate Reaper. It really gives you a reason to hate Reaper because up until that point, you know, he's the gang leader, but he's not. He doesn't come off as sinister up until that moment. And then you want to see him go, you know, and you want that really brings the audience onto onto Isaac's side, I think, and when he makes that decision. So
Action.
the last scene, to me that's Tony's scene. To me, I think from this day he breaks my heart whenever I see it. When he was doing it, I think it's so. I don't know what it was, but you did a really good job about it. Just that last scene where you've got the the gun and I don't want to give too much away, but it's just it's really moving, and I just thought you did a really good job at it, and it was. You really, actually, that day we were shooting, we were on a soundstage at Columbia, and we were shooting our close-ups. They had till 5 o'clock to be on the soundstage, and we started shooting that at 4:45. So we already had the stage guy or whoever locks up. They were saying, you got 5 minutes to get out of here. You got 10 minutes, and everyone was rushed. Everyone was panicked and rushed, and everyone was arguing and. So I was actually just you use all that to just kind of build up this anger, aggression, like all this frustration, and I'm really pleased at the way it came out.
And you only got what 1-2 takes on that? Yeah. So I think Mike did a great job.
Really wasn't happy about that.
He was only, considering that fact, because we were so rushed and everything had to move. You know, Mike only got one, maybe 2 shots at it. I think it was just one.
Yeah.
I think it was just one.
Because they shot your close-ups. What was it, about an hour before? Was it around there?
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I was able to be there with him, you know, and giving him whatever he needed to get into the place where he needed to be, and Tony was too, but yet there was like 5 minutes left, and he's trying to bring all this stuff out in the meet, but so it was all rushed, and then all this. I remember that whole day just sucked because it was all this fake blood and Roger did my makeup and he did it maybe 8 hours before we shot anything, and it was just like caked on, and then he had to reapply it, so I was like sticky,
walking around sticky,
yeah, and then we used so much of it too. I mean, it was ridiculous how much we used.
While we were shooting, the time was just flying.
Yeah.
And the assistant that was running the studio at the time, he's like coming by, you only got a half hour, you only got 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And we were literally right down to the minute of 5 o'clock.
I had to pick up the camera myself and start shooting.
And he did, yeah.
Action!
Fucking shut up already! FucFucking Isaac. 423, scene 36G, take 3, roll camera. Set. Okay, quiet all around. Okay, places. Everybody get ready for rehearsal.
It was just crazy, it's like we gotta go. All right, stop, break it down, give me the camera. And you got the shot with the 2 guys holding hands and did that, and it was like, all right, we gotta wrap. And the guys are laying there bloodied on the floor, dead, and it's like, we gotta wrap. And I go, Chris, you gotta get one shot, you gotta get up there, you gotta get an overhead shot looking down at them from upstairs. So he just he's like, fuck it. He took the camera and he ran. And the guy was getting pissed at us that was there because he's like, these guys aren't leaving. They got a whole set they got to destroy, to break down. So Chris went up on the catwalk and got that great shot looking down through the grates. And I'm so glad he just went and did it, because otherwise there was no really good scope for the thing. I mean, I love the heaven shot looking down on him.
It's pretty badass. I have this restaurant in Hyde Park called Mellow Yellow. Come on down. Really good food, reasonable prices. Anyways, I gotta pitch that. Man.
Yeah.
So, and you could see me, in my little editing dungeon down there. No, but what happened was, I spend so much time there at the restaurant that it's kind of like impossible for you to come over here to the studio and start editing. So what I did was that I just, decided to go down there and take my computer stuffs with me. And sure enough, I started cutting most of the movie, actually, at least 99.9% of the movie at the studio.
Yep.
Because I'm always there. And you know, between like waiting on tables or screaming at somebody or doing bartending or just making sure managing that the whole place is okay, you know, I would go down there and make sure that the scenes were cutting okay or capturing, you know, and then you would come down on occasions, you know, and just videograph me, and you know, we'd be walking down into that hot, stifling basement or the dungeon. The
I was there a few times. Yeah, we really put the film together there.
Yeah.
And, it was interesting, and it was what's the word? Tedious because of the music you had pumped in around the restaurant. It was hard to concentrate at some points putting that together, but we were able to do it. And we didn't have the luxury of this studio here, which is another dungeon we're in.
Another one. Which is
it's always in a basement somewhere.
I like it. You know, it's pretty cool. You know, because it's cooler. You know, in the summer.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's pretty hot outside right now as it is. And
much more room.
You don't have to worry about the clutter of the upstairs and stuff, so it's cool.
The kitchen.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna follow you out, like going through the back door. You gotta tip everybody.
What do you mean tip everyone?
You know, you saw Goodfellas, right?
I don't remember. Oh, I just bust out with money and just like give it to them everyone?
Yeah. No, dude, it's going good.
This is my humble abode where I'm at all the time. You know? I spend my life selling food and making a profit out of it. And cutting movies.
We need a sheet.
MOS on a piece of paper. Can I get a piece of paper that says MOS, please? I'm sorry. You want me to do this? Yeah, just yeah, and then just walk that.
Cool.
Very close.
Just MOS. It's getting downhill. Hold that out. Let's roll
The
it.
initial shooting took about a month.
Yeah, it was
month.
Basically the entire month of July.
Right. And then we did some reshoots that winter. Being out there in a tank top in December, that's Tony Garcia.
But
we shot that on my birthday. Remember that?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we taped down his nipples.
Yeah. It was pretty cold.
Sucked on ice cubes.
So yeah, you wouldn't see
our breath.
Yeah. But it was what was it, maybe about 20 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That to me wasn't as bad as the hot days.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, it wasn't, but it was still pretty cold, you know, and just trying to act like it's just another summer day. I mean, that's.
And action.
What do you think? What? All this could be yours.
Oh yeah. A beautiful porch overlooking the hood.
Yeah. What more can you ask for?
What's it gonna take, man? You know, you should stay in home. You know, they're doing hot days.
And then we were so limited on technology because nobody brought a slate, we had to use our hands.
Oh, that's right.
To clap it, like, okay, set, and roll sound, camera, marker, clap it, and then
clap it.
You know, we were.
And then
it was pretty cool because you know, it's just how far you can go to really go do that. There's another tip for you filmmakers out there.
Yeah, you don't need a clapper board.
Yeah.
People love that scene for some reason.
I think it really shows their real relationship. You know, I mean that's I really think it shows. I mean, you know, there are a couple of moments. There's a couple of reasons why, but I think in essence, you know, I think it really shows their relationship between each other. You know, how kind of, you know, how their vulnerability. And there's a huge difference between who they are there and who they are otherwise. And so, you know, those laughs really, I think, allow the audience to it really invites the audience in.
But what do you think? What? All this could be yours. Oh yeah. A beautiful porch overlooking the hood.
Yeah. Let's do that. A beautiful porch overlooking.
A beautiful porch overlooking the hood.
Yeah. That scene also, it brings in a lot of tension as well because before that you've got the kiss scene, and then this grocery scene, that altercation, and then it goes into my apartment again. So I think the audience is expecting, okay, they're in his place. It's like, what can happen now? Are they going to go deeper with the sexuality? You know, it brings a lot, and we've had a lot of questions with that, you know, throughout the film festivals. You know, we've had questions like, why didn't you go further? Why wasn't there a sex scene? And I think it was done really well with the fact that he didn't want to show any gratuitous sex scenes because it didn't, it wasn't about that. It was about this relationship but you can see that we're going in for that second kiss or whatever, and then little things like that. People they're on their. They're scratching like my dad, He's like, oh no, he only worried about one,
Right, exactly.
So,
right. And I think the kiss establishes it enough, you can see the passion when it happens.
Right. Yeah.
When that happens, it really establishes how much they care for each other.
Right.
Speed. 1B, take 2. Marker. Set. Action.
Isa. Hey. I told you that you can move in with me.
It's a lot more intimate.
Much
yeah.
more.
Much more intimate. And a lot more poignant, especially because it's at Angel's place. I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're getting the reactions that the behind closed doors reactions as opposed to putting on the front. If we were outside, we couldn't be as intimate outside. We had to reshoot that scene because the original scene, we're sitting on a stump right across this. It's right after the scene where Angel and Isaac come out of the grocery store, and we have that altercation with the grocery store owner. Right. We come out, we're all heated up, and right there he goes into the monologue about why he left, and why he's in the gang, and why the lifestyle he chose, and we're doing it on this tree stump and right by these train tracks, and it was a good scene. And then I guess during post production, someone in his crew left the film out. Direct sunlight got on the film, and it was ruined, and
so we had to
reshoot it. Yeah. I think he just wanted to reshoot it.
And here we are on the set trying to finish this damn film.
I know, right? How many years? 2 years. No, 1 year.
2 years in the making.
Eat your heart out, George Lucas.
They decided to make this a feature. So we had to add some scenes, and that was in the beginning, early the next year, right? It was 2003.
Yep.
So I would say, and then we also did some more in that summer, so about a year.
We decided to do a feature-length version once an initial rough cut was done. One of the basic reasons was because for film festivals, it's kind of hard to schedule a piece that's 45 minutes somewhere. So we just decided, well, let's just go for it and do a feature-length version of it.
I was gonna say you never added scenes, right? You didn't do the movie and then add scenes, right? Or did you? Okay, sorry.
I told Roger I'd give you a call, and I was like, hey, let's see what kind of scenes we could add to this.
We probably needed only 20 more minutes.
Yeah, and also to bring Angel and Isaac even more out, who are these guys? Kind of a little bit more, what are their aspirations? What are their dreams?
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, you came up with the really cool scenes, and then the introduction of Angel's mom also, and then Isaac's sister. Which is really good. It just really added so much more. And then the confession that Reaper finds out on a rainy night. That because I've always wanted to do a rainy scene, and sure enough, this was the opportunity to go ahead and do it, and it was a perfect transition, so it worked out really good.
Teddy added 3 scenes to the movie, so it kind of had it was rewritten. Oh, it was rewritten a little bit because they tried too hard, as far as the sort of lingo, on the street talk and stuff. I thought it was they tried too hard to be ghetto, so there was a lot of rewrites in that.
And actually, in retrospect, the last night of their lives is the storm, and it's the coming together of Reaper's knowledge and Angel finding out his mother's health has gotten worse, and the extra scenes really worked out well, and then the conflict of Isaac, having nowhere else to turn, then he goes to his older sister and Sheev, and she just. I can't help you. Grow up and do it for yourself, which actually then it was like all little pieces of the puzzle that eventually got together and made this nice flow all the way to the point where Isaac's last hope is going back to church, seek redemption there of some sort.
Yeah.
You know, some answers there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then you decided to get a digital video camera.
Yeah, and then we shot the rest of it on 24 Progressive because
24 Progressive.
I mean, we wanted to practice see what medium was better, but I mean, I think everybody was really happy with the digital.
I'm gonna say film. I still, I think can't beat the way you look on film. I mean, digital's a little like unforgiving, but I think you know, Ty, I think they pulled it off. I know. I know. I think you pulled it off really well, though. I mean,
In terms of which one I liked working with more, it was DB. I really liked it because of how quick it was. You know, I mean, we would come in, we would know our lines, and you know, all they had to do was just set up a few lights, as opposed to how long the huge lapses of time it took for setups for film. And it wasn't, I mean, and I've had that experience not just with this film, but for other shoots. And with the DV, it was just fly right by. And it's true, it's very unforgiving, but I kind of like that about it.
I preferred working on digital because I didn't feel bad when I messed up, and I didn't feel bad when, you know, somebody else messed up. I mean, and you get to see the results a lot sooner. Like, we literally can film a scene and then see how it came out. That was cool. I think one day Teddy had a video assist, and that was cool because I got to like film the scene and kind of see how it was coming out, and I got to see how the angle how the angle looked, as opposed to film. Like, you get it, you film it, and then he has to send it off. And I mean, I'm not really a pro at this, or an expert at this, but I think you go and you get it developed somehow, and then you see how it came out. Although it looks better on film. So there's just pros and cons, but I prefer digital because it's quicker and you get to see the results a lot faster, and you get to see how the movie came out. So, and I don't feel as guilty about fucking up either.
Toddy and Roger have completely left the door open to us the entire process. I mean, we saw the dailies when they got back. I mean, we saw the first cut and the cuts after that, and you know, and they honestly wanted to know what we thought, how we felt about things, which was incredible. Which was, you know, for this being my first feature, and yours. I mean, it's been great because it's been a great learning experience.
Right.
Because you get to see how it works and how it develops as you go along, which is a great education for an actor. Yeah.
At first I was a little like, with any movie, you know, when you see a rough cut of any movie, it sucks because there's no sound, the cuts are bad. So when I first saw it, I was like, damn. I'm like, shit. I'm like, well, I can always have this for my demo reel.
Well, here we are shooting. We are shooting the end of our film, which is actually the beginning of our film. Oh, jeez. Trees are falling down on us. This is actually the beginning of the opening of the film, which we're shooting last. How amazing is that? Let's look.
We did a shot to establish a relationship between Isaac and Angel. So, and also like who these guys were, and kind of like give them a little bit more human characteristics, you know, instead of being like these, because in the original cut, there was nothing that really kind of explained who these guys were, except like what we knew about them, and that was it. So we went ahead and did this, and we wanted to put it at the beginning of the movie.
We didn't see a friendship between the two of them.
Yeah.
There was no real closeness to them, you know? So I wrote this scene where they're basically sitting in a car like most, you know, gangbangers probably do, you know, they just park and talk. And they just have this conversation. They're joking around at first, and then they're talking about, you know, how they want to, you know, get out of the neighborhood, because they're both growing up. They're both kind of getting at the crossroads where they want to go off and do their own thing, but they realize that they're stuck in this gang that they grew up in. And, you know, it turned out to be a nice little scene, and we shot this. This happened to be like the last day we shot, and we rehearsed it a few times, and then we shot it, and it went really well. And we had our little cameo by Perry Flores to come in and play Officer Dorvac.
Jesus, you want to get a little closer there?
And who are you in the film?
Yes, my name is Officer Dorvac. This is Officer Kaczynski. I don't know. What do you want? We could use your original name because that sounds all right.
No.
Kaczynski over here. We're going to be the two officers talking to the perpetrators on the corner.
Tell them how you came up with that name, Dorvac.
Oh, Dorvac. I was looking for a name. Perry was in our original short film, Broken Warning, and since that movie was the little film that could, and won an award, I guess the both of us were like, well, you know, maybe he's our little good luck charm. So, and Perry's a cool guy, so we figure from now on he's going to be in any movie we do somewhere, no matter how small the part. And I says, I got to write a part for Perry, and I was like, okay, the two guys are sitting there, and a cop pulls up, and he starts busting Angel's balls, you know, about, you know, hey, I hope you're not ripping off the house, I hope you're being good, you know, remember I arrested you the other day or whatever. So I wrote this scene, and I was like, what am I going to call this guy? I can't just call him, because I think in the original Broken Warning he was just called Narc.
Yeah, he was just a narc.
And now in the Redux version it's Officer Dorvac. But I was like sitting there at the typewriter, and I was in my apartment, I was looking around, and I was like, what am I going to call him? And I'm looking at books and thinking, putting maybe a couple words together, and I looked, and there was a door, and I was like, okay, Dorvinsky, and then I looked at, and there was a vacuum cleaner. I was like, Dorvac. Hey, that sounds like a cool name. So I came up with Officer Dorvac, and actually people like that name.
Yeah, it's a pretty bitchin' name.
We joke around. We're gonna someday make a movie just called Dorvac, and it's about Officer Dorvac's problems in his life, dealing with being a cop.
The original script that I had read started where it had started, and then it wasn't until like that Roger and Toddy decided that they wanted to make it into a feature, and when we started to add in more scenes to develop the characters even further, and to take a different journey through it, that in the re-edit it started off a little slower. It started off with a conversation between us both, which was a reshoot that we had done, but then it went back. Thanks to some good advice, and we went back to what it was
originally.
Yeah, and with plus the added scenes, which gave it its feature length.
I think the recuts I think it makes the film a little bit more effective. You know, it brings it brings the story along, I think, a little quicker. The end scene, I always kind of fought with Toddy a little bit about it, you know, because I didn't want he told the whole film is so real, you know, it's genuine, and you know I always kind of felt, I said, well, I was just worried that he was gonna take it too far, you know. I didn't want the movie cheapened by just the subtlest little thing, you know, because that's the last thing that people see, you know, and then you've got them all through all 90 minutes, and then that last scene, it's like, what, you know, I didn't want anything like that, so I was just kind of, I was a little leery about it, but people have, you know, really seem to enjoy it, so that little twist, but that's Toddy's thing, and I appreciate that because everything he does has to have some kind of a twist. He's got a little tiny twist in it. He just puts something in there. So
yeah, and I've talked, you know, and I'm speaking with people who've seen both edits. You know, I know that they feel more comfortable with what is going to be released, because I feel like it eases them into the moment. Because before, I think it came on too quickly, and again it made. It almost made it could almost completely take away the value of what you just saw, the entire 90 minutes that you saw before. But so now where it kind of takes it in step by step by step, and then it seems more real. It seems more established. It doesn't seem like something that was just kind of thrown at you off to the side and kind of devalues everything that you just experienced.
That was a good take.
Whoa, Roger. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just surprised he didn't stop.
Oh, and I caught it too.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
When you woke up this morning, you didn't think you'd be walking through a field, right?
There's a lot of things I never thought I'd be doing.
This film expands the boundaries of acting.
The most difficult thing about the shoot, I think, was just dealing with the heat. And
Yeah.
it was pretty hot that summer, you know, and we did a lot of running around and jumping over fences, and you know, we don't have the luxury of stunt doubles or anything, so we'd be running. Okay, back to one. I'm not talking about going from here to here. I'm going around the block, over the fence again, and
really taking the falls. And the two days that I remember specifically was one the day in which we staged your beating into your violation into the gang, and the last day. The last day, which was the first scene, which was the chase, the initial chase. And not only was I, part of the cast, but I also brought my buddy and I along to do the fight choreography. So it was like a dual job on both of those days. So those were the hardest days for me. And I remember going home after wearing that T-shirt, especially after the initiation shoot, and there was just red. It was just, I was burned to a crisp, and but that's, those are the sacrifices you make for your art,
How's production going?
Great.
That's it, huh?
I'll do interviews.
I don't know. Should we talk about the prancing? Should we
well, you already brought it up, so.
Originally, we were supposed to just run through this alley, jump over this, kind of break through this gate, and that's where we start the initial fight. Well, there was this empty lot that was just right around the corner from the alley that we could jump over another gate, then break through the gate, a second gate, and then slam into the ground. But we had not scoped it out. And so all of a sudden we were being told that we were going to be running through here, and we had one actor who, and he was really brave. He was a really good sport about it, but he got a little bit, he twisted his ankle and got a little scratch in his head, because that's the guy I break the bottle on top of his head with. But, all things considered, I mean, he got away really well.
Screwed up, he had an ice pack on his.
But it was great, but because we had no idea what was in that field, because the grass and the weeds and everything were about up to your chest.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh, okay.
And nothing was level, it was all rocks.
So
glass
Mike would run through the field like
this. The hell with the scene, I was about my life, I was like, I don't want to step on the rock.
On the ground because he doesn't.
So here I am, I'm trying to go like this, and it looks like I was, like kind of prancing.
And you hear from far inside going, "Stop prancing!"
Yeah. Mike, don't prance around.
Yeah. So, wasn't too happy with him, but we had to do it like how many times? Like maybe 10 or 12 times, or it seemed that we had to. Yeah, that was a pretty intense day, but yeah. And now the funny part is that you go over there where we shot it, and it's all kind of there's not a trace of that feel anymore. So. The driving scene, it was all improv, and that was actually the final day of shooting. It was the last thing we shot, and by then, Tony and I were so comfortable with each other. We were, we built this friendship up, and so it wasn't like it was just two strangers. It was we knew who we were already, so.
We've been playing these characters for more than 6 months now.
Yeah. So we we just put our costumes on and just kind of Roger and Toddy, they were in the back seat, and they just said, Roger's like, what, just ad lib, because he originally wanted
But
Angel
he gave us
to
some guidelines. He gave
us some guidelines. And originally,
where he wanted it to go.
Roger wanted Angela to rap. he wanted to rap, and I said, I don't rap. He's like, well, you can do it. Come on, you can. I said, no, I don't rap. So I tried it, and it just wasn't. It really wasn't working. So, he's like, well, just ad lib. So then I it was just. I don't know what it was, but I just kind of figured out what would these guys be talking about.
And I remember and he's like, follow. I remember him specifically going, follow my lead on this. He's like, just go with me. I was like, okay.
So I started talking about Thundercats or cartoons, and he chimed in, and it just kind of led from there. But it was really comfortable, and they were completely happy with it, and they were actually enjoyed how loose it felt, and I think Toddy was so loose he fell asleep. in the back seat with the boom in his hand. And we're all like, what'd you think? Was that good? And he's still like, oh yeah. Good job, guys. And then we found out in reality, after I was like, that was awesome, that was great. I'm so glad you did that. And he's like, yeah. And then we started talking for real, and we actually were more on the same page. We were just fighting for argument for the camera, but really.
That music was badass, right?
Yeah. Oh, which part?
All the music,
all the new stuff?
Classic Santana stuff,
Yeah.
like the part in the church, or when he's reminiscing. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, the music itself for the entire movie is something that a lot of people always ask about. Is there a soundtrack? Is there where can we get the music? So usually I let them know and what websites they could go to, and they hopefully they get it off there. The music for the movie was very crucial. We really needed to find some good music that would actually fit the look of the film that we had, something gritty and really raw. And so we started out with like a local Chicago hip hop artists. We did the test screening at DePaul University, and the group came in, and they really weren't too happy with the subject matter because they just say that homosexuality and hip hop music just doesn't mix. And they just decided, no, we're gonna pull out, but if you need any help in the future for any other projects, then go ahead and ask us, and we'll be happy to help you out. Then I remember I was reading a magazine, and I saw that there was a hip hop artist by the name of Deadly, who was located out in Los Angeles.
I got involved because I got a letter from Tadeo, cool-ass director, and I guess he heard of me through some magazine, something. And it was just cool that he heard there was a open gay rapper out there, and I had some stuff, and so he listened to it, and I was just grateful that he added me to the film.
He also emailed me. He's like, well, do you have a rough copy of the movie, or do you have a script? And I'm like, what for? He was interested in writing a song, so I shot the script over to him. And sure enough, like a few weeks later, he came out with this great song called Reaper, which pretty much summarizes the whole movie.
It's the calm before the storm, the Reaper's wrath. Your faggots been warned, fade to black. Prepare for the worst, take another drag. You can run like a pussy, you can cry like
The Reaper song, he sent me the script, and I was just, I don't know, that just came to me, man. Like, the Reaper character is just so intense. And I was kind of comparing it to, the Grim Reaper, and there's just so much stuff that you could write about that. And so I just took it from there.
I'm a real big fan of Spanish rock, and so when these guys came around, I think it was a godsend also, because I had sent out a notice to at least friends to actors to see if they could possibly send me or hook me up with some local talent. What came up with was a Spanish rock group called Samando que Taraon.
When I first met Tadeo again, it was through Vero, and she told me what was going on. He was doing a feature film. He needed music for the film, and we got a copy of the film, of the first rough drafts, or one of the first drafts that we got to see of the movie. And when I got the whole I guess the whole concept of the movie, the idea of the movie, there was a particular scene where I knew I had a perfect song for it.
Ruben had this really incredible song called Cannabis, and so me and Gil went to his house.
The next time that I saw Tadeo, I showed him the song, and I performed it live for him. And
at this moment, I'm closing my eyes and picturing it, and it's like, man, this works perfectly, and the words are incredible.
From that point on, I guess he agreed. I was kind of surprised that he agreed that it was gonna be, that he definitely wanted to be part of the movie.
So I told Ruben, I like it. This is the song I want to use. So he gave me a copy of the CD, and I think for his point of view, it was a rough cut of it.
And that day he came up, and I had it was a pretty good draft, and I gave him the CD. He took it with.
and I listened to it and I put it to the movie, and it just worked perfectly.
And then he calls me up and says, "Okay, that's it. I think I got it. That's I'm like, well, wait a minute. We want to. I think we want to fix. I think we can do more with the song. We can put some more background music, bass line and." It's like, no. That's the way it goes. Like,
Perfect. No, just leave it the way it is.
Right.
I like it like this.
And I told Tadeo, but that's a rough draft, man. I mean, I just sat down in front of a microphone with a guitar in my voice, and
this is perfect. I like it. This will add a lot to the raw feeling, to the gritty feeling of the movie. I don't want you to change it. This is fine, So can I use it?
That's not something I had in mind that I would want you to take. I was like, no, it's perfect, and I gotta hang up now. I think that's what he said, and the rest is history.
The good thing about working with Samandoke Taraon was that his girlfriend, Ruben Amado's girlfriend, Veronica, also had her own group called Ekis, and she was able to provide one song for the movie, which just had like a really incredible feel to it, and it just like brought, after the confession scene, just brought everything together. And it was just a lot of talent. I mean, I went there and she performed the song, Tu Intensa Intimidad, live for me. And that was, I never expected that, but it was really good. It was incredible.
Going to the actual film festival, sold out film festival, how did I feel seeing my band name on screen, hearing my song, well, our song? It's like totally amazing. Right away, I seen it in the opening credits, so I'm looking at my own Ekis. I was like, whoa, I finally made it to a big screen. I was so happy. And then hearing the song, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm looking around everywhere. How are people reacting to the song? I'm looking around and I'm trying to look for people. I see Donato around there, and I'm just looking, and I'm like, people like the song, people like it, especially their songs. I was just like, baby, they like your song, they like it. And people are just, bobbing their heads, and I'm just like, but it was so cool. I just felt like everything just rushing, and just you get those butterflies, and you're like, whoa, it's surreal.
We still wanted to add a little bit more of the feel for the Chicago hip hop scene, and we went through quite a few different people to obtain some hip hop music as well. So it was about 3 hip hop groups. One group didn't want to have anything to do with the movie. Another group was really, really good, but there was just something missing. With Crew Life, it was there was a lot of, I don't know, it didn't seem like the music was being made for much of a profit. It was more the music was coming from the heart. I could feel it coming from the soul. And there's scenes specific with the song Color Arena, in which Isaac and Angel are just joking in the car. And that song in particular, with all the heart that I felt coming from the vocals, especially from the refrain, it just felt here's the heart, this is what we're watching. We're watching these 2 guys, just watching them in their everyday lives. And now, with this song, it just brings it even more complete.
This is from the heart. Seems like a lot of stuff right now is fabricated. Everybody's a killer, a gangster. And it's all love. Look, it's Chicago. We don't get no more really than Chicago. This is where everything started. But the industry's so saturated. A lot of the people that I, was dealing with at that time, we was just like, man, let's go to the left with it. Let's talk about the positives, try to touch on a couple of things in regards to the beautiful Latin woman. And my man Max Soul came up with the concept, another member of Crew Life, my man Malo, Crew Life member. And it was just about, showing love for the Latina woman. So we started talking about people, we brought it together, painted the picture, and that's what came out.
Of course, no good movie is ever complete without a good musical score, and that's where Gregory Martin actually came in. His music was just incredible. When he made the score for Broken Warning, it was just, unbelievable. Here's a 13-year-old kid who came up with just a complete score for it. And then when he turned 16, he actually completed the whole score for On the Down Low. And I was just amazed. I'm like, man, this is the kind of person that I want to work with. He just had music in him all the time. And it was great to see that, evolve through the making of On the Down Low and in the final product of On the Down Low.
Michael, what'd you think of the production? Enough said. Anthony.
What he said. But you know what? Like last year, this whole thing has been a great experience for me. Had a great time. I mean, it was a lot of hard work. I have a whole new respect for behind the camera stuff, and I'm kind of glad that it's over, but yet I'm kind of sad. And now I'm just looking forward to it coming out and doing well. So, yeah.
Any regrets?
No.
The freezing, the kissing, the heat. You guys been through everything, really. Think about it.
All year. Even though he gave me wood, I have no regrets. No regrets. My wife understood. She understands. I mean,
You even taught her a few things.
Maybe he said it, not me. But no, I mean, it was. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, there's a part of me that's sad that we're not going to be doing this, but at the same time, really happy to see it start to go into the final stages of post, and getting ready to see it and watch it get up there, and just hope that it does well.
Let's get this on tape. Will you work with us again?
Absolutely.
Cool. So, you ready for Download Part 2? The prequel? The early years?
The early years. Yeah.
Well, let me be the first to say that it's been a real pleasure working with you guys. You guys are certainly a talent.
And good sports.
And very good sports,
Oh my
and very
God.
understanding. And
if you have patience to work with, especially me.
Yeah. And final words from the director.
Cut and print,
He's tired.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm tired, but man.
Hold for plane.
Great experience. Oh, wait. See, this is with the big deal that we had to deal with all the time.
I got a question, Andy.
What's up?
Are you, I mean, this is your vision. I mean, this comes out of your head, you and Roger's head. Have we fulfilled it? I mean, are you, because you're the kind of type that, you're never satisfied, and you're a true artist, but, do you feel that we've done this?
That you've done the justice for the story?
Oh yeah, definitely.
With the limited technology that we had, we still got cool stuff out of it.
All right, guys, thanks a lot.
Awesome.
I don't know. I don't think of it in terms of. I wasn't thinking about it in terms of a moral. This film. What I was just thinking was thinking about it in terms of just the relationship. I mean, I hope that those who are watching, just like that woman that we met at one of the festivals in New York, understands that one of the things that she felt that she said that she was repulsed by the idea of gay couples, men, and just the idea of a public show of affection and things like that. And when she left the film, she said that she felt that she just didn't understand that love could actually exist between two men or between two people of the same sex. And and I think that's, for me, that's what was important about the story, was the relationship between these two, the fact that love does exist between them, that despite everything that's going on around them, the circumstances, everything, the problems that they have with their families, the problems that they're going through within their own lives, within their own gangs, that the truth of the matter is that you care about them because you understand that they care about each other, and that's really what it's all about, and that's what I hope that people understand and walk away with when they leave, or after viewing it, is understand that this wasn't a movie about gang. It wasn't even a movie really about being on the down low or a gay relationship, but it was really about the love that these two had for each other and the circumstances that they were in that, brings about their outcome, their downfall, romantic tragedy.
tour.
Do you really want me to tell you about the festivals on the tour?
Uh-huh.
Honestly, no, I didn't really know how it was going to turn out. So when I read the first review, I was pretty amazed.
My wife, I think, was a lot more jumping for joy and kind of slapping me on the back and kind of really more giddy than I was. I kind of taken in stride, but I mean, I think I was very excited, because you look at it and you say the work is paying off. The blood, sweat, and tears that we went through to make this thing, it paid off. It really, and people were understanding it, and it's fantastic.
I don't know what was going to happen with this film. And the fact that it's been in all these, these great film festivals around the nation and around the world, it's like, this is more than I ever. And this is the hard part is now everything that comes after that.
Where are you at, Donato?
I am at the house on Hollywood Hills.
And what are you doing
Hollywood
here?
Hills. And, well, we're supposed to be socializing, but we're just parking our asses on the couch. And,
Why? Because we had a very exhausting trip, right?
We did.
You're supposed to
And
say
we're
that
2
it
hours
is.
behind. True that. We're 2 hours behind.
What? This thing rocks, man. It really gets a nice throw. What will we be planning here? The musical?
Yes, that's for future.
The two producers right here. They're planning out the musical portion of it.
I'm the Download the musical. Yes.
Inspired by?
Madonna. To look through the lyrics of Madonna.
The opening song was
When you're running.
when they're running is Ray of Light. Ray of Light. We are reading the review by Chuck Wilson, dated July 9th.
Read the tackle title.
July 9th. It's called Been There, Done That, Back for More. Expect the Unexpected at Outfits 2004.
Oh, sounds good.
On the download, Southside Chicago Latino gangbangers Isaac, Tony Sancho, and Angel Michael Cortez are secret lovers. They drive. I love this review. They drive around a lot, talking about cartoons and gangster flicks. And some days they drive out to the suburbs and sit in the car for a while, observing the silence. Director Tadeo Garcia and screenwriter Roger B. Domian, making their feature debut, don't find a way around the predictably violent finale, but what lingers in the mind isn't the gunplay, but the gentle, sexy ease between Isaac and Angel, and our fervent desire for them to get in that car and drive themselves right out of town.
Wow.
Say hooray.
Hooray for Hollywood.
Oh, hello, I'm Tadeo Garcia, and I'm here in lovely Las Vegas, where I am going to be catching a connecting flight to Oakland to go to the San Francisco Flick Fest. So I'm trying to place my bets here. Hopefully I can make some money and finance our next movie. I missed my flight at 6:55 in the morning. Hey there, we are at the Los Angeles premiere of On the Download. Hello, I'm Tadeo Garcia, and I am here at the Latino Film Festival in New York City. And I am checked into my hotel room in beautiful San Francisco, Califas.
And then, like, all of a sudden we see, and we thought it was a mouse. Dude, it was a roach that big with wings. I said, Jimmy, did you see that? He said, yeah. And then it passed again. We're like, ah! We're like, my mouse, I gotta go. It was funny. I had to be there. It was one of those things.
Today, are you big Jacksonville? Yeah.
I know, I'm scared.
chills out.
This man is broken. I don't need it. You're blinding me.
We're just whoring the movie. Nobody else has done this yet, but like we're personally bombarding people with the flyers and saying,
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I never saw a roach outside and everybody was acting like, remember it was like at Michael's shoe, like in the back. Mike was all innocent with, he was looking all pimped out with his, you know, that striped shirt he always wears. We were waiting in line to get into Boricua and everybody was tripping. I said, step on it, what the hell? Where's everybody at? It's just a roach. Like that big. I wasn't gonna step on that shit and get it on my shoe. I was like, Michael, step on it. What's the problem? It's just a roach, for Pete's sake. That's our little roach story for summer New York trip, 2004. It's a kick-ass year, man.
I was telling Tadeo I'm in love with the actor, not the one that got beat up, the other one. I forget their names. Tony. Yeah, he's sexy. Totally.
You rock.
And he's like, yeah, he's married with kids. And I'm like, it's okay, I can still fantasize.
It was my first movie, so I can always say that this was my first movie and it was an award-winning movie. So that's all I got to say. Bye-bye, sweet babies!